Hi, I'm Wanda with Jimmy Branch Homestead, and today I'm making stuffed bell peppers for dinner. So we start out by washing all of the bell peppers. Typically it takes about 6 medium bell peppers, but I harvested these from the garden today, and some of them were on the small side even though they're starting to turn color. So wash them, and then we're going to cut the tops, but we're going to save the pepper from the tops. So just cut it in a ring like that, and we're going to be chopping that up and saving it, using it. And then I just kind of go around and I cut everywhere it's attached and just pull, the center right out. So sometimes you may have a few seeds left inside. Go ahead and just get those all cleaned out. Okay, now some of your bell peppers will not be flat. This one really leans to the side. So I'm just going to cut some of the high side off so that it'll lay flatter in the pan. Again, we're going to keep this to cook in with the burger. And then we're going to set them aside as we get them cleaned. I'm going to go ahead and finish these up, and I'll be back in a moment. Okay, next I have a couple of things going. I've got the oven on to preheat to 350. I'm starting to cook my burger. 1 pound of hamburger. I'm using venison, but you can use any kind of burger you prefer. Turkey, beef, whatever. Oh, helped if I turn the oven on. And I also have a pot of water over here heating up, because to expedite the cooking of the bell peppers, I'm going to basically cook them for 5 minutes in the pot and then pull them out. So I got that water heating for that. I have all my peppers cleaned up, and I still have to dice these pieces up. So I'll do that in just a moment. And I have a cake pan. I'm using glass, but any 9x13 cake pan will do. And I'm going to lightly coat it with Pam Original. You could also use the grill, but I like the original. And that just helps for quicker, easier cleanup, because the burger and the cheese and everything's going to stick in there. And whatever doesn't fit in the bell peppers, I shove in the side or the end. So I'm going to set that aside. Okay, to dice these up, I'm going to use my handy dandy little hand dicer here. It just has some cutting plates there. And I just stick it on there and close it. And it's so much faster than hand cutting. I just love this little dicer. I use it a lot, especially in the summertime. When I'm doing a lot of freeze drying of bell peppers. And I'm getting ready soon to hopefully freeze dry a bunch of onions also. I have a lot of freeze drying I got to get busy and get done. I'm behind on stuff. Just makes real quick work of it. Oops, one little piece here. Okay. Now I'm going to take these that I just diced up. Got my handle too hot sitting there on it. Working on my burger here. And this is just, I love this tool. It's a little chopper for when you're cooking burger or sausage, and it just works wonderful. I do have it on my Amazon page. I don't have a regular Amazon store set up yet because until we hit 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, I'm not eligible for a regular Amazon store. I am an associate member and do receive a very small kickback on things you purchase through my link. Okay, so that's cooking up pretty good. And I'm going to add these peppers to this mixture. And it'll just give it more flavor. And I usually use just a little bit of fresh onion, but I'm going to use the dried minced onion. So I'm only using about 1/8 of a cup. Just enough to give it a little flavor. I don't want a lot of onion in it. If you like more onion, by all means, put in more onion. So I'm going to mix these together while that hamburger finishes cooking. Doesn't take long. About 5 minutes usually. Maybe just a little longer, depending on your stove. And I have my burner on medium to medium low. And once the burger is pretty well cooked, I want to cut it up just a little bit more, chop it a little finer in there so it's a little bit smaller chunks. Because again, we're going to use this filling to stuff our peppers. Okay, to this mixture, I'm going to add 1/2 cup of uncooked rice. And 1 can of drained, I need to drain them, or a pint jar. I'm using a pint jar. And I'm just draining the juice off of them. Well, don't all want to drain off, that's okay. Need a little juice anyway to cook that rice. And then I'm adding 1 can of tomato sauce, or in my case, 1 pint of home canned tomato sauce. I'm going to give that a stir. I know some people use ketchup. I find that too strong of tasting to me. I want the other flavors to come in and melt together more. So I'm going to cover this and simmer it. So I'm going to turn it down on low for a few minutes so that that rice can cook. Okay, I'll be back with you in about 5 minutes, maybe a little longer. Okay, one thing I just about forgot. 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire, however you say it, Worcestershire sauce. Again, that's 1 teaspoon. Some people add hot sauce. We don't care for anything spicy hot. So people, we can't take it. Okay. So that rice is starting to cook, but it's got a ways to go yet. So we're going to just let that simmer here for a few, and it'll soak up the juices here. Okay, my water is boiling over here now. So I'm going to go ahead and add the peppers. Again, we're just going to boil these for 5 minutes. And we're going to go ahead and cover them up to keep that heat and that steam in to pretty much finish cooking them. Okay, we'll be back with you in 5 minutes. Okay, we're going to add a little salt and pepper here so it can finish cooking into it as well. Just however much you like, just to taste. Okay, so the timer for the bell peppers is going off. And they're boiling hard. They're very half cooked, it looks like. So I'm going to turn that burner off. And I am going to use some tongs to pick them up and drain the water out. And then I will bring them over and put them in my baking pan. So several of these peppers are smaller than I usually use, but that's fine. If I have large peppers and I'm making this, 1 to 2 peppers for dinner is more than plenty. If we're not having anything with it, we might eat 2. But if we're having other sides with it, 1 large bell pepper would be plenty. Again, these are small peppers mostly, so we'll be eating more. And if I have leftovers, I just stick them in the refrigerator and heat them up again in the oven. A lot of times when I'm having a lot of bell peppers, I'll make the stuffing and just blanch the bell peppers for a minute or so. And fill them up, and then I'll have a quick meal for dinner because I can just take them out of the freezer and stick them in the oven. Everything will be cooked. They're just... Okay, so that made... I have 8 peppers. Most of them are small. Okay, so let's bring it back over here so you can see what I have. And I think the rice mixture has been cooking, I lost track. It usually takes 12 to 15 minutes. And yeah, it doesn't look like that rice is quite done. We're going to cook it just a little bit longer. It's getting there. Wow, it's smelling good though. And again, those tops of those peppers, you don't want to throw them away because they give a lot more flavor to that filling. Okay, so that took about 15 minutes to cook the rice in the meat mixture. So the last thing we're going to add is 1 cup of shredded cheese. Now I like to use a medium cheddar, but any cheese will work. Whatever you like. So I'm just going to give this a quick mix, and then we're going to start stuffing the bell peppers. And you can see that cheese is melting pretty quickly. Okay, so now I'm going to stuff the bell peppers. Just by spooning it in. And again, it typically would fill 6 medium to large bell peppers. So I thought I would use 8 today, since these are small ones from the garden. This is the first picking of peppers, so they're a little bit smaller. They'll get bigger as the time goes by. Oh, I wish you could smell it. It smells so good in here. And these won't have to cook real long in the oven, typically about half an hour, but because the peppers are pretty well about cooked, I might only do it 15-20 minutes. However long it takes to melt the cheese on top, because I'm going to add more cheese on the top. And that's usually what takes the longest to melt and brown. So it probably will end up being about half an hour. Now you can see I'm going to have extra filling that won't fit in my peppers, and that's fine. I'll show you what I'm going to do with that in a moment. If I had more peppers, I would have just used more peppers, but that's what I had. I do have a couple colored ones in there, but I was saving those for a salad. Okay, now the rest I'm just going to put in the side of the dish here. So when we take some peppers, we'll also take some of this mixture. I also could have just cooled it and put it in the refrigerator or the freezer for the next time I have bell peppers. Of course, it would keep much longer in the freezer than it would in the refrigerator. I would only keep it in the refrigerator for a few days at most, but it'll last a good year in the freezer. And the one thing I haven't tried freeze drying yet, and I'm hoping to, is these peppers, the stuffed peppers. Okay, gonna go ahead and pop that in the oven. Oh, gotta put the cheese on first. Okay, so I'm gonna sprinkle more cheese on the top. And basically, it's going to be done once this melts and it browns just a little bit. Okay. Okay, let's get this in the oven. I'll check back with you when it's finished. Okay. So it looks like it's getting pretty brown and gooey, so I'm going to go ahead and take it out. Yum. Now I'll give you a closer look. Doesn't that look delicious? Okay, I have it plated up. It is so good. Delicious. So if you're enjoying this type of video, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and share our videos on your social media. It's the best way that you can help us to grow our channel. Thank you so much for watching Jimmy Branch Homestead.